Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's episode number 55 of the Audible Farm Podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee is roasted right here in Iowa, and it's roasted to your specifications. Not only that, but they'll ship it to your house. I mean, it's unbeatable. In today's world, everything gets shipped to your house, and why not ship your coffee to your house, too? So just go to www.couchtowncoffee.com, click on the Our Coffee section, find a coffee you like, and they'll roast it for you and ship it to your house. You just have to make an order right there, and all the directions are right there for you. On the website, they even have tips on how to brew your coffee if you are new to it, or you want to get some tips on how to brew the best coffee you've ever had before. So go to www.couchtowncoffee.com, click on the Our Coffee section, find a coffee you like, and enter the code word BASS. BASS. Code word BASS will save you 20% on your order. And the cool part about that is everybody likes to save money. And I've used it before. I've used it before to actually buy coffee and gift it out to other people. So it's kind of neat to even use your own code word in that thing. So big hats off to Couchtown Coffee for providing us with a code word this week to save 20%. The code word is BASS. Go to www.couchtowncoffee.com. The code word's bass this week. I just chose bass because it is Greg Merritt, and Greg Merritt is the bassist in Jay Clyde Band, but he also plays guitar in Riddled With Class. So he pulls double duty on two different instruments, and he grew up being a drummer. So, I mean, you get a little mix of everything in there, and we talk a little bit about that in the podcast, how being that well-rounded and what that does, and et cetera, how he kind of started on the drums and worked his way to playing stringed instruments instead, and his relationship with his brother and how they've been in bands together. I did a podcast with his brother earlier. If you want to check that one out, let me scroll back and see what episode that was, because that was a while ago. Let me see. Episode 35 with Jake Merritt was his brother, but this one's about Greg, and we talk, like I said, about him playing the drums growing up, switching to bass guitar, playing in Jay Clyde Band, getting the opportunity to play guitar in Riddled With Class. He was even in a band before that with his brother on the drums, and it's kind of crazy. So me and Greg actually sat down and got together quite famously in this episode, so I hope you guys enjoy it, because I had a great time sitting down talking with Greg Merritt, and just want to say hats off to Greg for joining up with me on the podcast. Thanks, man. Everybody enjoy the episode.
It's the Audible Farm Podcast with your host, Peter Stockdale.
Okay, I'm sitting down with Greg Merritt this time, and I have sat down with your brother before, but I've never really talked to you before.
Yeah, it's weird because I know a lot of people that you know.
Yeah,
and I know a lot of people that have done this podcast, but I've never actually. I think we met once at one of our shows.
Yeah,
in Lakeview or something like that.
Yep, Lakeview.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not Lake City.
Nope.
I said that on the podcast by mistake. It's Lakeview. But yeah, that was a pretty cool show. It was one of those deals where I was just like, heck, they're down in Lakeview, and I hit up a buddy that lived in Manson at the time, and I was like, you want to just cruise down there? Let's go check it out.
Right on, yeah.
So we cruised down there, and it was pretty funny because we went to a jam night. It was Vince Benishek. I've done a couple interviews with him, but we had went to a jam night once, and Ronley was there.
Okay.
And
oh yeah, I remember him. I think I remember that.
So
I wasn't there, but I recall him going to that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in Bode.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was a pretty fun time, but it was one of those deals where it's just like, dude, Ronley's so good, we got to go check him out with Jay Clyde Band. So we were like, let's go check out the Jay Clyde Band down there. And he shows up, and he just gets his Snapchat out, starts recording. He's just like, I know that guy. I play guitar with him. It's pretty cool, So it was a fun time. We had a blast. It was totally worth just driving down to see you guys play.
Sure. Well, thanks, man. Yeah, it's fun. I love doing it. That's the bulk of our summer has been that, and we're kind of finally hitting the end of that right now with Jay Clyde, and I'm ready for a little pause, but we got a lot of big stuff we're going to be working on for next year that we're kind of keeping in the dark for now. But
Cool.
But there will be some announcements and whatnot's going on later on, I think, this year. So
yeah, you guys were busy this summer.
Yeah.
Like, real busy.
Yep.
Did I even see Jay Clyde beer
Yes.
floating around?
So, Ron Grebner at River Hops here in Fort Dodge
Yep.
has a little brewery, and it's actually awesome. And Ron Lee, our guitar player, had been working with him a little bit, and we had booked a show there, and I think I don't know how they got to do it, but Ron Grebner offered to print some labels to give us our own beer for that show that we were playing.
Oh, that's cool.
It was like a limited run. I think there were like 120 cans of it. And,
Yep.
it was a 3-hour show, I think, and they sold out in the first hour and 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So, beer a minute.
Yeah, jeez.
16-ounce cans.
Oh, man.
But that was really cool. Yeah, that was awesome.
I even saw one of them that might be the Easter egg one. It was upside down. Does that ring a bell?
I think he did one where he put a label on upside down, and if you got it, you got a free Jay Clyde t-shirt out of the deal. There were like 3 or 4 of them. So.
Dude, that's cool.
Yeah, it was
that's
pretty
really
sweet.
fun. I guess I didn't know that. That was the deal with that.
Yeah, it was cool. And I'm hoping, I don't know, maybe we'll work on some other stuff with Mr. Grebner later on here too. That'd be kind of neat.
That's really fun. That's a fun thing for a band to do. Because, I mean, like, you can just have a band and sell t-shirts and do that whole thing.
Sure.
But, like, you kind of make it extra fun.
We always used to joke. So kind of the little side stories, a lot of the guys in Jay Clyde used to be in other groups together too. We always used to joke on like odd marketing schemes on what we could do, like fanny packs and like, like bleacher seats with our faces on them. It's like really dumb stuff like that,
You never know what it'll sell, though.
Who wants toe socks with my head on it? Like, but, Kiss did it, and they make a crap load of money, so.
Yeah, I mean, you never do know exactly what you're going to sell. Right. And, like, the stuff that you might like might not be something that somebody else would like. But the ability to, like, not only just, like, have a beer with your name on it, but then also throw a little Easter egg in there.
Yep. We were joking around, like, if we ever get to do it again and we could actually make our own, it's part of the brewing process. We kind of joked that it'd be a really weird beer if it was, like, 4 different kinds of whiskey in a 16-ounce can,
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jay Clyde shirts, I'm a guy that I have dozens upon dozens upon dozens, to say the bare minimum of concert t-shirts and band t-shirts. And I don't have a Jay Clyde Band shirt. I need to get me one. So before you guys end up...
Yeah, we just got some more this summer, so we'll have to set you one aside and
definitely
make sure you get one.
Yeah, I mean... When's your guys' next shows coming up, or are you guys done for the year?
So tomorrow we are playing at River Hops in Fort Dodge here.
So tomorrow
is the 28th of September.
Yep. So this will come out Thursday.
Sure. So a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And then I think we've got some things going on in November. Let me get up my handy dandy calendar here real quick.
Yeah, I always forget to get out my phone to look at that to make it easy.
And mine's nearing death because I've been playing Mario Kart all day. So that's
the benefit of, like, I do have like that little mini home setup, but I always have a laptop there. And it has everything sitting there. Yes. I've got the 28th show on mine.
So we've got October November 2nd.
So you got one on November 2nd.
The next Jay Clyde gig, and then I think we've got some like a New Year's Eve one, December 14th. Some of these might be some private parties, though. If you check out our Facebook page, we'll make sure we get that all up and going here in the next couple of weeks. But
yeah, the Facebook page, just search for Jay Clyde Band.
Jay Clyde Band.
3,000 plus followers, man. That's strong,
right?
Well deserved, though, too. I do have to say that, like, you guys are one of the most polished bands up in the Northern Iowa area.
Well, thank you. It doesn't seem like it was, something that, I mean, we've just been playing together long enough, and, we do practice, but not as much as we'd like to.
Yeah.
But it's because we're busy, which is a good thing. But, like, you play enough together for a long time, it just kind of sort of works its way in there.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because that's kind of how we got our sound with each other, and, we communicate with each other very well, especially on stage. But,
yeah,
I don't know. Like, it's been, I think this might actually be year 10.
Jeez.
Of some form of that band.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that just kind of snuck up on me.
The other crazy thing is, like, with as busy as you guys are, I mean, like, if you didn't have a show during the week, you would probably practice during the week. But since you have shows every single week,
sure,
it kind of replaces the practice thing.
Well, and it's kind of a little bit of both. Like, when we're real busy and we don't have a show a certain weekend, sometimes we leave it off on purpose. That way we kind of can catch our breath.
Yep.
Because we all have day jobs too. It's not just it's not just weekend warriors playing gigs. We all got 9 to 5s, and in some cases 6:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. You know, but it's I don't know. It's awesome. Wouldn't do it if we didn't love it. And I think I can speak for everybody in that regard. But yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that rings true across most of the musicians that kind of have stuck with it over the years, because you find the people that have been doing it 10, 15,
Sure.
20, 30, 40 years, and it's like, why do you do this? And it's like, well, obviously they like it. Almost none of them have done only music-related things for the entirety of their life.
Yeah, and it's cool because, like, for those of you who don't know, I work at Riemann Music here in Fort Dodge, and I get a lot of customers that come in that are, middle-aged people that are wanting to pick up an instrument.
Yep.
And it's like, you're never too old to learn to love it,
Yeah.
It's just something that you can do, and it's there forever. And it's great. I think that's pretty sweet.
100% true.
Yep.
I teach guitar lessons. When there was a music shop in Humboldt, I taught guitar lessons there, and now that it's not there, I still teach, but I don't have any advertising or anything. So I do it on the side just here and there. But my best students have been older people that wanted to learn because they've got the moxie or whatever it is. They really, really want it.
Yep.
And they take all that time to practice. As a matter of fact, like a 70 plus, maybe 80-year-old lady was like my best student.
Really?
But she just, it's not like she had all the time in the world to practice, but she dedicated all the time to actually practice.
The time she did have, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
she had to buy a new pick every single time she came in because her dog would eat her pick.
Oh, no.
So she'd be like, I went without a pick for the last 3 days.
My dog ate my homework, right?
Literally what, she brought one in once and it was all chewed up. Like, this is what my
man.
picks look like.
That's what mine look like. I just throw them in my mouth and forget about it.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you give lessons here then too?
Yeah, we have some lesson studios and we have some teachers. They're private lessons technically, but we rent out our rooms to the teachers, and I give lessons here. Jake, my brother, gives lessons here.
What kind of lessons do you give?
I do bass just for right now. Jake does percussion. He's had guitar in the past. We got quite a few people. Piano. We had voice at one point. The two instrument repairmen here give woodwind and brass instrumental lessons and all that stuff. They're
cool.
They're very involved in the Carl King Municipal Band.
Nice.
And my dad that works here is part of that too. He's a percussionist. Go figure.
Yeah. So music's in the family.
Music is most certainly in the family. It wasn't that it wasn't an option, but it was a preferred option for the children, I guess.
Yeah.
Although my sister, she did do band for a while, and then she got out, but we always refer to her as the smart one. She's a radiology tech down in Ames. So
oh, nice, cool.
She's got a really good job.
No, it's not like music's not a good job though.
Sure,
either.
sure.
Don't sell yourself short on that.
Right.
So, did you originally start playing the bass, or where did you start out at?
I was a percussionist.
Oh, no, yeah, well,
so
makes sense.
I was, Jake is, my dad is, his dad was, and then his dad was.
Oh, wow. So
it kind of was like, when I was getting into being able to do band in school, we had the option. My dad used to work at a music store. We used to live in Wichita, Kansas, and he worked at a music store down there. And I vividly remember being in 4th grade, going and sitting in the back shop, and him just handing me like a trumpet and trombone.
Yeah.
But I was like, it's gonna be percussion. Like that's what it's gonna be. So we got that ball rolling. But I didn't pick up a string instrument till I was 15, 16 years old.
Oh, wow.
So between my sophomore and junior year in high school. So I got done with baseball season, and we had like 2 weeks before we went on vacation. And my mom had an old, like, late 70s, early 80s Yamaha guitar with like 3.5-inch action and 20-year-old strings on it. And Dad bought me a book that had a CD in it. Yes, a CD. There was no online audio back then. And I sat down for 2 weeks and kind of taught myself the basics, and it just went from there.
That was like I started when I was like 15 or so, and that's how that all started out. Was you buy a book and the book's got a CD in it. You put the CD in, and you just gotta match all the pitches and stuff. Like my favorite part about that was when somebody was just in the book. They say like if you want to tune to a piano, you do it this way.
Sure.
But what do you do when your piano's out of tune?
Right. Yeah.
So like I'd always go to the piano and be like, it's not right, and it's not that it's not right. It's not even close. So I was ran into these weird issues where before I actually like figured like, oh yeah, piano's out of tune. Obviously, like it was just like something doesn't line up here. So
yeah, and Yeah. Oh, so like, after you get through the book though, that's when I discovered tablature, which kind of could have been a blessing and a burden all at once. Because like,
Yes.
I always like to learn stuff like the band way of doing it, like the note for note way,
notes
reading
on a
music,
staff.
stuff like that. But like, guitar's different. You read chords. You don't necessarily have to read notes on a staff unless you're doing classical playing or soloing. I mean, that's just certainly a way of doing it. I know if you go to college for it, you got to learn it that way. But like as far as what you and I do and what most people do, it's just whatever the chord is. You just got to know what the chord is.
Yeah.
But tabs are a whole different ballgame because then you could learn all of your favorite songs.
Yeah.
It's super easy to read.
You get to learn all the best main riffs to every song that you like. And
it was Blink-182's Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. The whole album was like the first thing I actually was like, all right, I think I can do this.
That's awesome.
Yep.
The more I play Blink, the more I realize that the drumming's the hard part.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
when I was learning how to do that, Jake was like obsessed with Travis Barker.
Cool.
So it always fluctuated between, for him, that I remember, Travis Barker and Joey Jordison from Slipknot.
Yeah.
So like one day we used to practice in our basement at home.
Mm-hmm.
Just me and him, we'd just get together and jam. One day I'd walk down and it'd be like the Travis Barker setup, really kind of tight, small kit with flat drums and big cymbals. And then like 2 days later I'd walk down and it'd be like a monstrosity of a drum set like Joey had his set up. Boy, that kid nailed it though.
Yeah. That's wild.
He was probably, I think he was in 7th or 8th grade when he and I had our first band together.
Yeah.
And we did some Blink-182 stuff back then.
That's really sweet.
Yeah.
So he was like in like 7th-ish grade. What grade would you have been in then?
Sophomore and junior.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep. We had 1 year of high school together. We played at my prom. That was really weird.
We played at a pre-prom.
Did ya?
One of my first band. The very first show I ever played was a pre-prom for something. Somebody took video with like one of those big old recorders with a VHS disc in it,
right?
Or VHS cassette.
Yep.
The thing was monstrous. So they like, here's the VHS, and sweet, I'll take this home and watch it. So you go home and watch it, and the audio is not the greatest because we're all using like Marshall frontman amps.
Yep.
And there's like, I got this little 15-watt amp that's not mic'd up, and nobody can really hear anything that's going. But all you can really hear is like this singing and everybody laughing at us. Because it was not, it's not like it's bad, but it's just, look at these, you're in high school and everyone's like, look at these morons up there just trying to make fun.
See, when we did prom, I had the exact same kind of setup. It was like, it's this little PV Raptor.
Yep.
This is their beginner pack that I made my own, and it had the little Raptor 10, little 10-watt, 15-watt amp that had a clean channel and a dirty channel. And we played The Reason by Hoobastank in front of a gym load of kids in tuxedos. It was like, if this isn't awkward, I don't know what is. But man, I tell you what, that'll get rid of stage fright in a hurry.
Well, that's like what I kept thinking was like nothing. I don't know. We played Swing Swing by the All American Rejects. So you pick songs that are just like, I heard this on VH1, top 10 countdown 400 times or whatever. So let's play this or whatever. But like, you go through like weird situations like that, and it's like, well, I'm never going to be nervous to play anything ever again because I don't think anything can get more awkward and weird than this can. So.
And then we pulled out Chop Suey, but no one really knew the words completely to it, so we just played the instrumental, and that was uncomfortable.
Well, I think every band goes through like some of that stuff.
Yep. But how do you know? I mean, you get it all out right away, and then you know what to do after that.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, if you watch us, I mean, not that you like have to do like a bunch of moving around on stage, but if you watch like somewhere out there's still a video of this. I should put it on YouTube just so everyone can laugh at us again. But like, if you watch this video, like nobody moves until like the very end of the song when everyone's finally like, all right, the end is near.
Yeah.
All right, cool. It's like
we made it.
Like other than that, nobody moves even like a tiny bit when we're playing. We're on like a giant auditorium stage, 15 feet apart from each other. It was just all awkward.
Oh, that's funny.
Like you got the school's drum set set up there.
Yep.
School's bass amp. Everything's just small and really far apart.
This
it was just
weird PA where it's 2 floor monitors on music stands. Like, that's what the school's PA, quote unquote.
They actually, I think after we left, they redid the PA and stuff like that there. I've heard they've done a lot of improvements.
Sure.
Like going through the music program at your school, I'm assuming that you did drums, obviously.
Yep. I did drums and jazz band. And then like, I think my senior year, this actually would have been Jake's freshman year. He was in jazz band playing drums. I did some guitar stuff.
Cool.
By no means could I play jazz guitar, but it was like fake the chords and make some noise.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, filling in spots.
I always thought it was crazy to sit and watch even in high school, like the jazz bassists,
Oh,
just
yeah.
doing like this simplest walking
Yep.
stuff to them. But like, and I mean, I'm not saying that's simple, but they'd be doing what we were talking about, reading notes
Yeah.
and walking through notes
On the fly. Well, have you ever seen a bass chart for jazz band? Like an actual sheet of music? So sometimes the notes are written in, but I'd say probably the majority of the time, if there's a specific riff, that'll be written in. The rest is just guitar chords.
Oh,
little
so you got
slashes, so it's a lead sheet.
yeah.
Almost.
So you pretty much just hit this note here,
Yep.
walk your way to there.
So you gotta know your scales, you gotta know modes, you gotta know, there are, I don't want to say prefab bass lines, but there's a good idea what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
It's understanding theory a lot, which a lot of people don't realize goes into playing a bass sometimes.
Yeah.
You gotta understand more than just, what to play when and where. It's like you got to know why you're doing it too.
Yeah, exactly. So like it comes up every now and then in the podcast. I want to say like episode 3 maybe with Ben Christopher, we talked about it, how like AC/DC's bassist was known for playing like a third to round out a chord sometimes and not just playing.
Yep.
And something just as simple as that where
Yeah.
you just don't know it's there and you're
Or like one thing I like to do, and it's weird, but it's to my ears it sounds kind of cool, is kind of a counter melody. Like when the guitar chord's going down to a note, I will go up instead, but make sure it's within the same chord of it.
Yep.
So it kind of gives there's a little tension, but it's not like noticeable. It's just like, oh, there's something a little bit different there.
Yeah.
More than anything is to keep things interesting for me rather than just playing the same thing again and again and again
Yeah.
and again. But I don't know. I always think that's kind of neat.
Yeah, we mentioned it in actually the last podcast that aired with Nick Rosendahl, where like playing the bass is not hard, but playing the bass well is difficult.
Yeah.
So like guitarist by heart, that's me.
Sure.
I'm like it's what I focus on. But like I can play a bass, but if you want me to play a bass well, in
Yeah.
a band, it's a totally different beast.
And I didn't even want to play bass when it was kind of in the infancy of Jay Clyde. It might have even been right before that. I think Ron Lee may have talked about it when he was on the podcast about. We were in a band called Pearl right before Jay Clyde started, and Jake was going to play drums, Ron was playing guitar, and they needed a bass player. Well, I had been playing guitar, and I was like, oh, sure, I'll play bass. And like, it was just, I took it. I still don't really consider myself a bass player.
Yeah.
I consider myself a guitar. It sounds bad, but I take a very guitar playing approach to playing bass.
Yeah.
And then in the years since I started doing that, I've actually learned proper ways of doing things on a bass method-wise.
Yep.
And it's relearning all over again, which I'm so glad I did. But like, I kind of lost my train of thought.
Okay, so let me ask you this though: like breaking yourselves of some of those, like when you first learn guitar, everybody learns bad habits, and then breaking yourself of bad habits is always difficult. So like I'm sure that learning guitar, finding good habits, and then trying to transfer those to a bass, which they don't always transfer.
Sure.
Like how do you break yourself of those guitar player habits? When is it just like the same kind of mindset where you just like
Honestly, with bass, it's staying simple when you need to stay simple. It's understanding
sense.
what's appropriate to play when. Because, like, a guitar is there to kind of be in front of everything. A bass and drums are the heartbeat. It's the core of it. And guitar is there to embellish everything around it. And guitar players, I'm not saying guitar players aren't important.
yeah
But, like, a drummer is very important, and they're the only ones. Bass player is very important, they're the only ones. Guitar players get to take what the core of it is and expand upon it and make it more interesting.
yeah
So switching from guitar and then learning to play bass, I had to not overdo it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a little bit of sense. Yeah.
Rather than playing a full chord on a bass, you can break down and make your own bass line based off of what that chord would have been.
Yep.
You don't have to go to town all the time.
Yeah.
And when it's appropriate, you can. That's the cool part about it. That's what I was gonna get to is, I wouldn't trade playing bass for the world after that.
Yeah.
I feel like it gets kind of a bad rap, but people are like, oh, nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to be a guitar player. Mm-hmm. It's true, but like,
and then people say things like, "Oh, if you're not playing like Les Claypool,
right,
you
yeah.
must suck."
If you listen to any song with a simple band. I don't want to say simple, but like a band that's not super hard to play. Take the bass away from it and see how it sounds. It's a little less full and a little. You'll notice.
I not too long ago actually played a show with Unity, and our bassist couldn't make it, so we ended up with a situation where we're not going to back out of this show because it was too close to, we had booked it and everything. And it's just like, all right, we're going to play this show anyways. So we show up, we play the show, and somebody off stage just like, man, you guys sounded great, but you could have sounded a lot more full.
Yeah, yeah.
And this, I'm fairly certain this person was a novice because it was like, yeah, we didn't have a bassist. And they're like, I didn't even notice. And it's like, well, you did because you noticed that there was a giant hunk of sonic range missing.
Something was gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's kind of a crazy thing to think of, though. Like, I mean, it totally makes sense that, like, if you take something out of that, like, it's almost like the thing that makes the drums relate to a guitar more. It's like the bridge in between guitar and drum.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. There's tonal ranges for everything.
Yep.
You know, there's low ends. You know, and that's why in certain old school country music and even some modern country music, and Foo Fighters has one, not country music, but they have baritone guitars in there.
Uh-huh.
So you know, you got your normal guitars that are covering the high ranges stuff.
Yep.
You've got your bass guitar that's covering the low. You've got your drums that's covering the beat for the low end.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's sometimes a gap in the middle, and they fill it in with a baritone guitar, which is it's meant to bridge that gap. But yeah, you're right. Like bass bridges gap between drums and guitar.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even your vocals can bridge gaps too.
Yeah.
If you do a lot of harmonies and stuff like that.
So do you think it's so you started playing bass guitar with your brother on drums? Do you think that was something that helped make everything a little bit more comfortable because you already knew what kind of the rhythmic patterns you were going to try to be achieving?
Well, and you know, I don't think I've ever been in a band without my brother.
Okay.
So, and when we were growing up, we'd always just jam together, so we understood each other very well.
Yeah.
Like we were on the same wavelength. Plus, we have the same sense of humor. You know.
Yeah.
We're not the same person by any means, but we very much understand where each other's coming from all the time. We're brothers. That's how it works.
I don't want to interject too much, but I did see on Facebook, like, you guys do have a pretty decent positive banter going back and forth, like on everything. It's like if you make a jokey thing, he comments with a jokey thing.
Exactly.
And I noticed that, and it's pretty fun. You know,
that's we ride together to work every morning. It's the same way.
Yeah.
You know?
So you guys are definitely on the same wavelength.
Yeah, exactly. So it's it's one of those deals where it's like it's really I don't have to even say anything or acknowledge anything. Like if we're doing something funky in a song, all I have to do anymore is just turn around and kind of look at each other, and we usually know exactly what we're going to be doing from there on. You know, we can kind of feel it. And, you know, Jake's a lot more experienced in the jazz side of things than I am as far as, like, the instruments we play now. Mm-hmm. But, like, you know, that helps even more because there's a lot more nodding and unexpected changes in jazz music than there is in anything else, you know?
That's something else if you watch like old jazz videos, because I've recently just been hunting them down and watching them because they're just crazy, because it's just old dudes with big guts playing guitars and they're just killing it.
Right.
And all they're doing is like they just like look at the other guy and they like squint a little bit and then they like nod, and all of a sudden the next guy's soloing and he's playing rhythm. It's like, how do you guys just making eye contact and like yep. And
the unspoken words, right?
Yeah. I mean that's wild. Everybody will definitely get that tight with any band that you spend enough time with.
Yep, 100%.
I'm sure there's some weirdly special relationship between bassists and drummers that exists that probably guitarists and drummers don't have as much of.
Yeah. I mean, it's all a matter of the role of the band, you know, and how you see yourself and how you see each other. Yep. And acknowledging. I mean, we're all that way now, though. We can all look at each other and just be like, this is what we're going to do here. Yep. So...
yeah,
it makes it cool when we're, you know, kind of writing stuff or learning new stuff. It's like we're kind of all on the same page now as to like how we want. Because I'm gonna a little moment of honesty right now. When we first started Jay Clyde, it kind of started in a heartbeat. Like we had to learn like 36 songs in like 2 weeks. Yep. And there was a lot of songs in a genre I don't really listen to. Okay. And neither did Jake, and so we just kind of like did it our own way. Yep. And there were still songs like 2 years into it that we played that I had never heard before. I was just like, I'm just going to do this here and this here. But that's kind of, I think I like that because it kind of makes it us. You know? It's, you know, being in a cover band, people can knock on it all they want, but like we play songs people want to hear, and we play songs we want to hear because it's fun. Mm-hmm. And we write our own stuff too, but it's like we do it our way, and that kind of prepped us for writing our own stuff our way. Yep. So it's kind of a seamless transition between originals and covers that really aren't exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, I totally get what you're saying, because it's kind of like one of those deals where I don't know, like let's just say everybody knocks on fast food, but everybody wants to go eat fast food.
Right,
you know,
right.
it's like,
It's
come
there.
on, you know.
Yeah.
And if you're not eating fast food, you're making something like it at home.
Yep.
So
Plus, if part of this is income for us too, honestly,
Yeah.
and have fun trying to just play 4 hours. First off, have fun writing 4 hours worth of originals.
Yeah.
And then trying to get paid halfway decent for it. It sucks that
It's-
it's that
it's-
way.
it's
It really
difficult,
does.
yeah.
But like, it's one of those deals where it's there to supplement, and then I think our kind of business model, or at least in my brain, is if you slowly work in originals with it, and if people see enough, then you can slowly work in more originals and slowly work in more.
Yep.
It's the balance.
Yep, exactly. And that's one of those things where I feel like the best cover bands that do originals know how to do it well. And I mean, it's not like saying that all cover bands don't do originals, because most of them usually have one, or they'll like try to fold one in or something.
Sure.
But like, you guys have been able to pull it off well. Like Chris Carband's another one.
Definitely.
Like, you guys have the ability to, like, if a layman walked up and didn't know, whatever songs you were playing, they'd just be like, holy shit, like, this song was good, and they wouldn't know from a blind lineup which one was written by them.
Unless you tell them, like, we wrote that one, then they'll be like, oh. And then, like, if you do tell them 9 times out of 10, it's like, holy crap.
Yeah, and I feel like that lends itself maybe even a little bit to the fact that, like, since you guys are playing songs you like, and it's music you like to play, and you're doing it the way you want to do it, the fact that you're writing your own music can fold in there somewhere kind of makes a lot of sense then, you know?
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I mean, and it's hard writing music.
Oh my gosh, Nick asked me last week if I write music, and I was like, yeah, but it sucks,
Yeah,
like,
it's time consuming, and you're always your hardest critic, and like, especially like, we try and be very perfectionist if we can.
Yes.
We understand there's flaws, but it's like I said, you're your own worst critic.
Yes.
And nothing is ever going to be perfect with that attitude. Like with, having the perfectionist attitude, nothing will ever be perfect enough. It's just understanding that sometimes it's letting it be for a long time, like walking away and then coming back, and I don't know, it's trying, but it's worth it in the end.
Yeah.
100%. Like, we did the EP, been a year and a half now, and like, it was stressful getting to that point. It was a little bit stressful in the recording process because we didn't do it all at once. It was like over 3 months.
Oh wow.
And it was when we could. I don't think we were ever all there at the same time doing it.
Yep.
I think I got all my stuff done in a weekend. Like, I just went and stayed. Our other guitar player, Neil, is the one that recorded it.
Yep.
He's got a really nice little studio in his house, and it was like, I just went and stayed at his house for 3 days, 2 nights, and knocked it out. But,
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. But, we knew we were going to have to do it that way because we gave ourselves a deadline on when we wanted to get it out. So we had it pretty well prepared going into it. At least, we met here a couple times actually in the basement and worked on some stuff, and then just tested it out. Went to Ron Lee's dad's farm place. He's got a heated shed, and so we were there in the wintertime being really loud.
Yeah. It's always nice to have a place to go in the wintertime to be loud.
Yeah, it's awesome. But, I mean, it was a lot of work, and, I mean, we did it, and that's something I didn't know if we would ever do, because, that was 7.5, 8 years into being in this band, and it was getting to a point, I think we needed to do it because it was getting kind of stale.
Yeah, I've actually listened to that. It's on almost every streaming service you can find anywhere, and it's damn good.
And we do have hard copies too.
Oh, really?
People still have CD players, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Like, where's the CD players are all going everywhere?
Right?
Like, I mean,
yeah, with the VCRs, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so, man. I don't know. Like, the other thing I was thinking was, like, you guys have a really good job, done a really good job on your YouTube page of putting very, very good video.
Yeah.
Like, ludicrously high quality video and sound on there.
So that was last New Year's Eve in Manson at Shoreside. That's kind of our going home place to play. We're always welcome there. I went to high school with the guy that owns the place, Jesse Grossnickle.
Oh, cool.
So we kind of had an in, and it's fun to pack the place out. And the guy that did all the filming and all the audio and all of that stuff used to play in a band with me and Jake and Corey. We're in a metal band called Hour of Reckoning.
Nice.
And he's actually from Des Moines area. Zach Van Doren's his name. Very good guitar player too. He had a cousin that lived in Manson. So he would come up and visit, and we got to know him pretty well. And he's a shredder. And you want to talk about a weird time is when we were doing Hour of Reckoning and Jay Clyde at the same time.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Hour of Reckoning was like a heavy metal band. It
Yep.
wasn't like...
It's not one chord with an awesome rhythm.
No, it's pretty technical, shreddy stuff, and like I was screaming. Like that's what I did.
Do you have any of it recorded anywhere online or
There's
anything?
some pretty crappy like cell phone videos that are... We have a Facebook page still. I don't know if it's ever
Dude,
been
I'll have to-
visited.
I'll
It
have to
hasn't been
check it out.
active in like 10 years, but it was a good time. It was a lot of fun. It gave me a chance to go vent sometimes when I needed to vent.
Nice, yeah.
We got to do some really cool stuff, but like that's how we met Zach. So he's been in the last few years getting into the audio video stuff,
Yeah.
really hardcore. And I think he's actually playing guitar with Cody Hicks too, right now.
I don't know if I know who that is.
He's a country guy down in Des Moines area.
Okay.
But anyway, we got a hold of him and we're like, we just want to do some really high quality videos and like live videos. So we did every single one of the originals that we've written so far. We picked out a little set time in the New Year's Eve show and just did them all in a row.
Nice.
And it was awesome because like we did a little dry run the night before just to get everything set up. And so I think we've released 2 or 3 of those that are completely produced. But he did the video, got it all mixed, sent it up to Neil. Neil mixed all the audio, and it's kind of been a back and forth. And then we've slowly been releasing them. But I had strep throat that night, so that was fun.
Oh, wow.
I looked like I was the guy on stage that looked like he was about to pass out at any time because I was. But it worked out, man. It was so much fun, and like we actually had to cram and prepare for that too, because like some of those songs we hadn't played since we finished recording.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
we don't play all of them live, and it
Yep.
was just like, what did I do here? How did I do that? Okay, I got it.
Yeah, those videos turned out great, man.
Yeah, I was way happy with that.
Yeah, I highly suggest anybody, go to YouTube, look up Jay Clyde
Yep.
Band on YouTube, find them videos.
And I think he helped Lone Tree Revival with that. Like Jeremy Ober, Sean Minik's band.
Yep.
They did one up in Humboldt.
Yeah.
Rustics maybe.
Yeah,
and
that
I
sounds-
think he's the one that came up and did that video too.
Yeah, I was in that, that's where I usually hang my hat at, but I was at a show that night,
Sure.
unfortunately. I couldn't go to that. That's still one band that's eluded me. I've heard them from afar
Yeah.
one time, and
Yeah.
that was the closest I got. And that's like one of the bands that I'm going to make it a point to
It's-
absolutely go see.
It's awesome. It's
gotta
a
be
really
something
cool, It's a
special,
cool
man.
experience. It definitely is. And
It's
they're-
because it's not like anything else that's going
yeah,
on.
and they're all guys that have like had reputations of being great musicians doing other things, and it's like a super group.
It is.
You
It
know?
really is, man.
Yeah, I mean it's just really cool.
Yeah,
what they're doing.
Those guys are awesome. So you don't just, and talking about hanging our hats, you don't just hang your hat on the Jay Clyde Band
No,
these days.
Jake and I both play in Riddled With Class too.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Nick and Levi,
Yep.
and that kind of came about in a weird way, but I'm glad it did. So we kind of took a break from Jay Clyde. Oh, it would have been 2 summers ago now, I think.
All right.
We kind of just wanted to give ourselves some time to breathe and reflect on why we were doing it.
Yeah.
And Corey went and started playing with Salty Views, and Ron was doing his thing. Neil always does his own thing. He's got a solo show that's incredible if you can catch it.
Yeah, I meant to make it up to one here, and he played up near Humboldt a couple weeks
Yeah,
back,
yep,
and I
yep.
missed that one too.
He's always playing too, so.
Always. He's very busy. Yeah.
But we were kind of just, Jake and I were just kind of free agents for a little bit there.
Yep.
And Nick kind of came in and talked to Jake about playing drums for Riddled, and I hadn't even thought of it. I was like, I think I was going somewhere when they had their first show, so they played it as a 3-piece. And Jake was like, well, my brother plays guitar. And Nick's like, well, isn't he a bass player? And Jake's like, well, he plays guitar. And he's like, you want to come practice with us sometime? Because they were practicing for a show for, I think it was in Albert City maybe. So the night before that show, I went and jammed in Rockwell City with them. And, a lot of the songs we were doing was stuff like I grew up on that I like already knew some of the guitar parts too, because I loved it when I was in high school.
Yep.
So I played, and I hadn't played guitar for like that other than just noodling around for probably 10 years.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, okay, how does an amp work again?
Yeah.
How do these pedals work?
Gotta dial everything back in.
Yeah. I gotta play more than 1 or 2 strings at a time.
Yep.
So we just went and jammed with them, and like Nick's like, you want to come play tomorrow night? And I was like, sure. So I just hopped in the van with them the next day, and then it's kind of snowballed from there.
That's crazy.
But it's been so much fun. Like, it's kind of something I was missing. You know, I needed a reason to play guitar again because that's what I started on.
Yeah.
But like, it's just been so much fun, and they're incredibly awesome guys. Like,
Yeah.
I sort of knew of Levi before that band because we had some mutual friends.
Yep.
And I never really knew Nick at all. And then, like, we all just clicked right away. And I consider them, just in the 2 years I've known them, probably some of my best friends I've ever met. Actually, they were both ushers in my wedding this summer. So I was like, sweet.
Dude, yeah, they're all really great guys. I mean, it's one of those deals where I've known Nick like almost my whole life.
Right, yeah.
But like meeting all of you guys, it's just like,
Yeah.
everybody here is pretty chill. They're
Right.
really pretty awesome people, you know.
I think that's part of it, is like, we just don't really let anything get under our skin too much. And
every single one of you is very easy to get along
sure,
with.
yep.
You know,
It's too stressful being stressed, you know? It really is.
But like you said though about Riddled With Class, that like one of the benefits I think of that band was the fact that like everything I listened to from like 6th grade up through high school is like what you guys play.
Yep.
I mean, there's some stuff earlier than that
Sure.
too, and some stuff later than that.
You know,
like you guys will throw in the occasional cover of a new song or whatever.
Yep.
You know,
I would say nothing is off limits in that band.
Yeah.
Everything's fair game, and if it's something that's not our style, we'll kind of
you make it your style.
We'll tweak it.
I've heard
So
you
it
do
is.
it.
Yep.
I've heard you do it. Let's see here. I can't come off the top of my head and name it, but there's been a couple like pop songs that you guys have covered.
We did Royals, my lord.
Yep, there you go.
We do a bastardized version of Folsom Prison Blues.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, we do just stuff here and there. And we'll do, some of it comes from inspirations of other people that have done covers of,
Yep.
a song like that. There's some Seether songs that are covers of other songs, so we'll do a cover of that, but tweak it to its our own again. But it's so much fun, man. Like, I love doing it. It's not so much work going and doing that. I mean, it's work. Lately we're trying to learn a whole bunch of new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm singing a little bit more, which is kind of terrifying because I haven't done that in a long time either, and really bad at memorizing lyrics. So
I'm not the greatest either. I'm known for going to a jam night and then like getting the first verse out, and then it's just like just keep soloing, dude.
Yep.
Just keep soloing.
Take another one.
Yep,
Another round.
Going around again.
I don't really care what I'm saying anyway.
And I'm just like, okay, then it's you're like sitting here trying to word it all out while you're letting Ober solo at the other end of the stage at a jam night at Patty's.
Yeah, hey man, this first verse was good enough. I'm gonna do it twice.
Yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah.
The very famous LaGrange do the first verse twice. And
Yep.
it's like, wait, this doesn't make any sense. Why is this guy like thinking about going to LaGrange so much?
I think there's a Boston song where there's 3 verses in the song and they're all the same. I can't remember what song it is. It's one they play it on the radio all the time, but it's like the song is 1 verse and a chorus, but they do it 3 times and like solo, and that's it.
Yeah, Boston was another one of those bands that's just like, what part of this song is the hook other than the whole
song is the hook. That's it. Yeah.
Like those guys in Def Leppard for 2 albums. Def
Leppard is a 20-year hook. Like, they've been a hook since the 80s.
So that's pretty wild. Let me ask you this: if you had to choose, like, if I was just like, all right, I want to make a brand new band and you're in it, what do you want to play? What are you going to choose?
Me?
Yep.
I've always had grandiose ideas of doing my own thing.
Yep. Okay, let's say you start your own band. You're going to head it up. What are you going to play?
I'd probably be playing guitar.
Yeah?
And singing. Yep. And I would, honestly, I'd probably ask my brother to play guitar. Because he's always wanted to play guitar in a band, and he's actually a very, very good guitar player.
Yeah.
But he's just too good of a drummer not to be playing drums.
Yeah.
He's kind of those one in however many that you don't find that often, and it's like,
dude,
try sucking more at drums, and you can go play some guitar.
Yeah, good drummers are in high demand.
Yeah.
There's a reason that good drummers are in multiple bands.
Yep, and he's a Jake of all trades, if you'll allow me to pun for a while. But yeah, I mean, it would definitely be that, because I don't know, it's just like we were talking about earlier. We both think a lot the same way, and we have very similar tastes in music, and I can trust what he does with something I might write, or be like, hey man, let's try this here, and what do you think about doing this here? And I don't know.
I would assume that primarily learning. So here's one of the. I don't really have any quorums with this. I'm not gonna pick anybody out and poke fun at anybody, but like playing guitar and playing just chords with no accentuation on any notes, and just going through a whole song, everything's cranked up to 10. There's no palm muting. There's no, like, it does kind of wear on me a little bit.
Sure.
Do you think that playing, and it was something that I was very keen on learning when I was growing up, but do you think that playing the drums kind of lent itself, or even playing bass has lent itself to you, like learning how to accentuate different rhythms while you maybe try to play the guitar?
Rhythmically, for sure, drumming helped.
Yes.
Rhythmically, hand-eye coordination, a ton.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just pounding a chord and accenting the 2 and the 4 when you're pounding it, or the and of every beat.
Yep.
It's understanding time signatures and what will work where, what won't work where, and how to use that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How to use that properly. I mean, I think that foundation helped a lot with playing guitar, and just understanding rhythms and downstrokes, upstrokes, doing 2 completely different things with 2 hands.
Yep.
And then I still have to tap my foot all the time. If you ever come watch Riddled play, I'll be tapping my foot, sometimes subdividing, so it looks like I'm running in place. But like that's how I do it, It keeps me grounded, literally.
Yeah, dude. I played the trumpet in school growing up, and I've found that, like, this is gonna sound so weird, but I found that, like, some of my trumpet playing has bled into my guitar solo style, even though they're 2 completely different things.
Totally.
I read trumpet off of sheet music, and I never strayed too much farther than that, but I borrowed all these, like, weird staccato-y patterns and things like that, and I somehow just decided to put them into my bluesy kind of style of guitar playing, and it just makes me wonder, like, I really would have loved to play the drums growing up, unfortunately, but, like, it's just, I didn't, and I'm always kind of, like, jealous maybe of you guys, because I feel like you got a head start on this, even though you didn't play any notes.
Every instrumentalist goes through learning rhythms, and learning the same rhythms. It's just, as a percussionist, the first thing you do, that's what you start with.
Yeah.
It's not learning notes. I mean, the mallet side of it, yes, it is. And I think, of all of the things, of any instrument that would help with any of that, it's still piano.
Yeah.
Because you've got everything laid out in front of you, and it's understanding how to transition and adapt it to whatever instrument you're going to be playing next.
Yep.
And, but like, yeah, rhythmically, I'd even say it helped with my bass style,
Yeah.
It kind of, a lot of the songs that we play in Jay Clyde on the recordings, it's very simple, playing on the beat, playing eighth notes, whatever. And the way I kind of developed my style, like, back to not having heard the original songs, I took some of those rhythms, those kind of off-kilter rhythms that you learn in percussion, and just kind of applied it to that. And there again, it was just to appease myself and make it more interesting for me than anything. But, and that's where I've figured out there's a fine line to know how much to do, not overdoing it.
Yeah, you can have too much sauce on that biscuit or whatever. I don't know,
Same with jazz drumming, To be a jazz drummer, you can be 9 times out of 10, a jazz drummer is going to be the best drummer you'll ever hear in your life.
Yeah.
Because they can do everything. But they all usually understand when not to do it too. It's that deal where you can break the rules of music theory once you understand all of music theory.
Yeah, that's very true.
You have to understand everything before you can break the rules of doing it.
Yep.
So,
because, that was another thing I realized was, like, well, this is music theory and I learned it, but how come this guy's breaking the rules here? And it's just like, because sometimes you can. It's like,
you can,
and it's like, why? And it's like, well, you have to learn all this other stuff to figure it out. And it's like,
that's why they call it theory and not like music law.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah,
that's the beauty of music is nobody's right or wrong.
No.
Like, anybody can do anything.
Yeah. I mean, the joke always was, like, if you play a wrong note, just do it 3 times and call it jazz. But, like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, I don't know. Like, we'll go for that, I guess. But it's like you said, jazz drummers are, like, absolutely mind-blowing to watch. I went and saw Victor Wooten play bass.
Yep.
And you know Victor Wooten, obviously.
Yep.
And I feel like just a total bump for not knowing who the drummer was. I'd have to really think about it. But the guy I played drums for him was so amazing. I sat there and most of the time watching him, and I was like, why did I buy tickets to go see Victor Wooten and not watch him most of the time?
And the cool part is like, they'll make something that's really hard sound very easy, and you won't really know it unless you're paying attention to it.
Yeah.
Like ghost notes in places. Ghost notes are like, the heartbeat of the song is like a snare hit on 2 and 4, and you hear that very prominently, but in between that 2 and 4, they're hitting that snare like 8 more times, and you can't even really tell unless you're really paying attention to it. But that's jazz, that's part of it. And that's a very simplified version of it, that's just an example, but like that's the beauty of it, is like taking something simple and being like, okay, wait a minute, that's not really that easy to do.
Yeah. And some of those just like probably super simple drum things always make me just giddy to watch people do them, like ghost notes, or like always keeping time with one of the cymbals or the hi-hat, and
you
not
have 4 limbs doing 4 completely different things.
Like hi-hat rolls always kind of get me too. Just there's always just like weird things that drummers do.
Right?
When I hear them, I'm just like, yeah, from the back, and I don't know why.
It's incredible. It really is.
I still remember like the first time I heard somebody playing the drums incorporate like a triplet to what was going on, and I was just like mind blown, because the whole time you ever hear beginner drummers, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's pretty much all I can do for the most part, unfortunately.
And it still happens even if it's a triplet over like an 8th note beat.
Yeah.
So like you throw a triplet in there and you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes you smile. That's the thing. Like those are the things where it's like you're not really getting ridiculously complex here.
Right.
To the layman that does not know what triplets and 8th notes are, it sounds like Italian to you.
Yeah,
but,
right.
But it's really not that hard.
You would know what it is if you heard it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Even just like a 2 to 3, like what some people call polyrhythm beat. And it's just like, well, that sounds so weird, but it's like, no, this is actually a really common beat though, because.
And that kind of falls back into like me finally actually learning the right way to play bass. It's like there were so many things I figured out how to do in the 10 years, but I didn't know what it was. It's like, okay, so that's what that is,
Yeah. Or I could see like the over complexity of it all, trying to get too fancy with it, because you know all these ridiculous rhythms you could be slapping on top of this thing, and it's like, well, that's not what's supposed to be going on here.
Yeah.
That'd be such a hard thing to do, to figure out. I mean, like I don't know. I have played bass, but I'm just primarily a guitarist. I play in 2 bands. It's not like that mind blowing.
Sure.
One's a metal, one's a punk. So it's kind of weird. But at the same rate, like I couldn't imagine being like, you're playing bass in this band, and it's like, are you serious?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there would be a giant disconnect in my brain somewhere between the two. But at the same rate, like it's probably just like a different gear in a car.
Sure.
Like.
Well, and the cool part about that is like if it's 2 completely different things. Or, if it puts you out of your comfort zone, sometimes that's good too.
Yeah.
It puts you on your toes. You can't just do what you normally do. You got a fight or flight sort of mentality.
Yeah.
But they feed off of each other. So like I am switching between playing guitar in a rock band and playing bass in Jay Clyde, which is kind of old school rock, a little bit of country here and there.
Yep.
It's like I know how to blend the two. I can take elements of one and put it with the other, take elements of that one, put it back in that one.
Yeah.
On 2 completely different instruments, and it just keeps my brain moving.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part.
That's kind of the fun thing, though. Like you said, going outside of your comfort zone kind of pushes the envelope a little bit,
Jam nights are a perfect example of that.
Yes. Oh, man, it's crazy to sit there and be like, everybody here's played this song, but nobody's ever played it together ever once.
Yep.
And everybody has a slightly different interpretation of how it goes down. And sometimes you end up with a monster of a banger, and sometimes you end up with a train wreck.
It happened to me at Patty's one night. I was up playing in the house band, and Brooke Hoover was there from Surf Zombies.
Oh, cool.
And he just walks in with his sunglasses on. He's got his own guitar, not in a case, just walks up. He looks over at me. He goes, all right, man, we're just going to play blues and E. I go, what are the chord changes? He goes, no chord changes. I was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it is awesome to
you have to figure out how to jam on a song in one chord the whole song, and then not make it boring as all get out.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It was just a really interesting experience, but that was one of those, oh, now I'm really out of my comfort zone. But it was really cool.
And sometimes they'll lend you that at like going to a jam night where it's like, just play this, and it is kind of repetitive and boring, but then it's just like, once you get bored, it's like, I'm going to add a little bit of this sauce in here, and a little bit over there, and test the waters here to see what sounds good.
Emeril Lagasse bam on it, right?
Yeah, bam. Put your stamp on everything.
Yep.
I mean, it can, and that can backfire, but at the same rate, it's like a nice testing ground, and it's always fun to see different people playing with different people that they don't always play with.
And there again, that's another great thing to have, is because you can learn things from other people, especially if you've never played with them before. I mean, it's like, or teach them something that you've done forever that they're like, oh, okay. Like, it's great. I wish there was more of it still.
Yeah, that was like always one of the best parts of jam nights is when in between a song, if somebody doesn't know the song, they spend like 10 seconds explaining it to somebody else, and they just go.
Yep.
And
it's a safe environment for screwing up too. You know?
Exactly.
It's a learning environment also.
Yeah.
Like you have to, and if you don't keep up, it's not a big deal. You know, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I was blessed to have like the first jam night I went to was like Clint Riedel was hosting it, and Clint's like one of the nicest guys ever.
Absolutely.
So he's just like, don't be embarrassed, nothing. And it was a great time. And Jeremy Over was there and kind of helped force me into playing some guitar, and and then he invites me to play some guitar at one of the jam nights at Patty's here in town. Unfortunately, Patty's is closed, but yeah, I mean those are some great times to go see. And you were speaking of super groups, it was like going to watch a mini super group every three or four songs. It would switch up, and it's just mind blowing to think about that kind of stuff.
It was cool because they would get into like having house bands. So the way it worked, if no one's ever been there, is you get 4 or 5 musicians to be in the house band. They'd bring their gear. They'd play 4 or 5 songs, and then they would open it up for people to come up and jam using all those gear.
Yep.
And the house band was different every week, or it's third Thursdays when it was. Mm-hmm. And it was literally a who's who of local musicians.
Yeah.
But playing with people they'd never really played before.
Yep.
And like they'd even get people that wouldn't normally go play at a place like Patty's. Like Gabriel Alves played a jam night one time. He's an insanely good piano player.
Yeah, man.
Real good buddy of mine and Jake's. Jake plays in the Gabriel Alves trio. It's a jazz trio.
Yep.
And I think he had a blast. But
Yeah.
they had some horns playing that night. I mean, it was insanely cool.
Yeah.
It was really neat.
Yeah, I mean, you'll even find people that play there that aren't in bands that people know who they are. I mean, it's pretty wild to see some people that come out there. It's like, man, why aren't you in a band?
Right, exactly.
But, because they're not in a band, they get to sit down and practice all the time by themselves.
Sure.
And get super good.
But, people have their lives, It's one of those deals.
A band takes dedication.
Yeah,
and some people don't realize that till they get into one, and then they realize, oh, I don't know if I have time for this.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't had a weekend in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's not true, but it's the same thing. If I have more than 3 weekends in a row off, I'm like scratching my neck trying to figure out how to get out of the house and go play a show.
Yeah,
it's
no
like,
kidding.
I gotta go do something.
I think you might have tapped into something though, as far as just generally speaking. I'm sure everybody knows it, but stepping outside of your comfort zone for growth is probably a very, very big thing.
I learned that in theater stuff.
Yeah,
doing theater stuff in high school and in college and improv. I used to do improv a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like you have to be on the fly, and it's going to be really uncomfortable, but it's how you handle it.
Yep.
And make it the best of it. A lot of it's confidence.
Yeah.
It's not arrogance. It's not showiness. It's confidence in yourself on how to be able to deal with it.
Yep.
More than anything.
Yeah. I mean, something that's come up a lot lately. I've been watching a lot of motivational things and things like that lately, and some of them, one of the main common themes is if you're going to fail quickly.
Yep.
And then learn from it.
Exactly.
Because the faster you fail, the quicker you get to learn from
learning from mistakes is the best motivational tool ever.
Yeah. It's pretty much the thing that makes us human, honestly.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I guess just to relate it back to myself from stepping outside of your comfort zone, I played in a punk band, which is a lot of we were talking about, it's mostly just power chords. I play a lot of palm mute to not palm mute to accentuate what the drums are doing and stuff like that, but it's really nothing too ludicrously technical.
Sure.
But a buddy of mine was like, you want to be in this metal band? And I'm like, I don't know if I got the chops for this. And he just sent me all the papers and was just like, here's how to play it all.
Yep.
And so I
have fun.
Yeah. And I sat down and learned it all. It
Yeah.
was one of those deals where some of it I didn't want to learn, and some of it was really difficult to figure out how to actually go about playing it, because it's rhythms and string skipping and things I've never actually even tried to do before. But
it's a lot of fast, hybrid picking too. It's come on.
Yeah, and it's just stuff that I never really thought I would ever be able to do. But I also didn't think anybody would have the confidence in me, let alone my own self have the confidence in myself. But it's kind of fun to have somebody just be like, hey.
Yeah, and that's the cool part. And I think that kind of happened when I joined Riddled too. It's I didn't think I was a good enough guitar player to play in a band anymore. I hadn't played in 10 years. I didn't ever practice. It was but somebody was like, hey, you want to come play tomorrow night? And it's just someone else telling you that, you want to try this?
Yeah.
That was a little confidence boost, It's
yeah.
all right, okay. Now I'm really uncomfortable. Let's do this.
So how about Riddled? You guys got some shows coming up, right?
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to pull up I'll pull up Facebook. I'm sure your calendar's gonna be better than anything I have.
We'll be playing October 25th in Newell, Iowa at Screwy Louie's. October 26th at Shoreside in Manson.
Nice.
So I think they're both Halloween shows.
Oh, cool.
I know for sure the one in Manson, they're going to have a costume contest. So.
Are you guys going to dress up?
Yes.
You guys going to do Cher, and for every single song you're going to change?
Era of Cher.
You're just going to, well, it's like we're going to play Rage Against the Machine. You all dress up as Rage. Somebody puts on like a bald cap and pulls out a telly. Are you just going to like do it that way?
We could do it, or like the stages of Cher, and then the next set we'll do like the stages of Madonna, stages of Prince.
Oh, that'd be so awesome.
We've been messaging back and forth on some ideas, but
you might actually dress up.
Oh yeah, we for sure will.
Oh,
we
cool.
did last year too, and actually, we have the last 2 years. So
you're probably gonna do it at both of the places, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
That's cool.
I would imagine we will, and they might be different both nights. So
on Facebook, all I see is the Shoreside gigs. So
yeah, I don't know. On my calendar, we have Screwy Louie's. I don't know if Nick's put anything out yet on that one, but.
So on the 25th, get to Screwy Louie's, and if you can't make it, go on the 26th, get to Shoreside in Manson.
Sure.
That's gonna be a great time.
And then I think we've got one in November at the Poorhouse in Humboldt, November 16th.
Nice.
And then it's kind of open for the near future after that. But I would imagine there will be some booking going on because Nick is excellent at doing that, and cool part is we can stay as busy as we want to. So
if you want to check out Riddled With Class online, Facebook Riddled With Class. That's
I think it's
Facebook
RWC Riddled With Class.
Yeah, it's at Riddled With Class. But if you if you search for Riddled With Class, it's RWC Riddled With Class. Which, I mean, that was like something that was like a miniature Humboldt joke for a short period of time, and it turned into like a band, and it's a thing.
Sure. And Nick always jokes about. It's like the worst band name ever. I was like, I kind of like it, man. It's clever.
It is. I don't mind it so much, dude.
Yeah.
I dig it. So.
Could be worse,
Oh, it could definitely be worse. I mean, you could be in a band called Three Finger Betty. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, we're actually a really good band. I'm going to be honest. I crap on Three Finger Betty a lot on the podcast, but that's only because I'm in it.
Sure. You can do that.
We're actually a pretty damn good band.
Yeah, that's great.
It's worth it to go see. Hell, even Levi came and watched us play when he was in Des Moines one night, and he's just like, I saw you guys were playing, so I drove across town. That's the kind of thing I realized once I started this podcast, there's a ridiculously large amount of camaraderie in the music scene.
Yep.
There are pockets of dissonance here and there, but everybody is really supportive of each other.
Yeah, and I think part of it is because, there's not as many places to play as there were 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Not even close. And everybody just supports everybody, and they want them to do well, even if they're playing the exact same thing as them. It's like... Mm-hmm. It's funny because like on weekends I have off, I'm usually going and watching another band play at a bar or something like that. It's fun, and we're all really good friends with just about all of them. The ones that we know. It's awesome. It's a family. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's incredible how many good musicians there are per capita for this part of the state of Iowa.
Yeah, Northern Iowa is packed.
Yeah,
and it's easily one of the most positive areas as far as music. 'Cause I don't think I've met anybody up here that doesn't that verbally will say they don't like somebody else.
Right.
Whereas if you go to any other area, you can find people
like turf wars.
Yeah, you'll find people that for some reason just don't like each other. And I don't know if that comes from like having a smaller pool of people to choose from musically, and then having obviously in bands it's hard to get along with people.
Yeah.
I mean it is. We've all found some diamonds in the rough, and that's why our certain bands have lasted as long as they have. But it's not easy to get along in a band setting with other people,
right?
Because I mean, you're sacrificing time away from your family after work to go hang out with some dudes.
For sure.
To play music, which
which
actually is a blessing, but sometimes it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's good to have that because it keeps it alive. It keeps it going.
Yeah.
Even with not many places to play. Like it was actually really cool for Labor Day weekend. Sean Minikis does kind of a little party. It's like a jam he has. He used to have it at his house, but this year we did it over at River Hops, and it was
cool.
kind of a private party sort of thing, but like some people showed up that it was kind of just a gathering of musicians, and we all got up and just played different stuff with different people, and there was no set schedule of people. There was no set list of people. It was just come and go and play, and it was like incredible, and everybody got along, and I met and played with some people I'd never met before.
That's awesome.
It was really neat. It was just like, the jam nights, but it was like a for us sort of thing.
Yeah, dude, I totally miss jam nights. I mean, I know there still are jam nights. Clint Riedel still does one in Barnum at the Junkyard.
Yep.
I know Scott Dahl sets some up every now and then up near Humboldt and over towards Eagle Grove and Pokey and stuff.
And then I think Byron's in Pomeroy does a singer-songwriter night.
Okay.
I don't, off the top of my head, remember what night it is. I want to say maybe Tuesday. If I'm wrong, when this gets posted, somebody posts the right date underneath it.
Yeah.
And theirs might be every other week, once a month. I can't remember. I do know they have one.
I do know they have one as well. And I mean, there's open mic nights in the Des Moines area and stuff, but I've never been to any of them, and I'm not 100% sure what to make of them.
Right.
Like I've seen one that was like Open Blues Jam Night or whatever, and I had talked to a friend about it, and he's like, I'm gonna go check it out and bring my guitar and stuff. And he said he showed up, and the band just played the whole time.
Oh, really?
And so I don't know if it means I don't know if like what our term up north of a jam night and their term somewhere else might differ, but like
you can have a good moderator though too. Someone who's like, hey, all right, let's.
Dude, that was the benefit of having Jeremy be the moderator at the Patty's Pub.
And I felt bad because he, like, some of the nights he'd just be stuck up there playing the whole time.
Yeah, not that he couldn't.
Right, no, 100%. He absolutely can, but, like, some nights it's just like, if that happens every single time, it's like, hey, let's give Jeremy a break here. Like,
yeah, no kidding. But, he knows, like, almost everybody around. He would call everybody up by name.
Yep.
I mean, there were times where I would show up to jam nights and it's like, well, this thing gets over at 12:30 or 1 or whatever, and I'd show up at like 12:15 and just slink in the back and just sit as far back as I could, because it's like, if they're on the last round of 6 songs, I'm not hopping in, or whatever. And he always made time for me, so. And it's cool because it's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'll go up here in front of a bunch of people I've been drinking all night. They're gonna love this.
That's a perfect time to do it.
Playing Stranglehold, everybody, And I would bust that one out at shows. That's always one of my jam night songs. It's just like, well, if you really want to boil it down, it's one riff, and this is what it is.
Sure, but it's a good riff.
It is. It's a good one. Oh man, jam nights are something fun. That could be something that we need to find a place, and it's not like we need to find a place, but there needs to be a place around Fort Dodge that does jam nights again.
I agree.
Or at least has a more open policy towards playing music.
Sure.
And it's there, Fly. I heard you on the right on the mic. But yeah, I mean, like, there are places to play original music here, but it's a slightly limited variety, and it's understandably so.
Sure.
You don't want somebody playing metal in a brewery.
Yep.
Like, it just doesn't make sense to the clientele base.
Space is limited. Like, that's why Patty's was perfect, is because it had its own room. Its own room with its own stage, and that's what it was there for. There's not a lot of places that have that.
That's very true. It was a dedicated room, almost exactly only for music. I mean, it was open when you could go in there and go back there if somebody wasn't playing music, but usually they would like curtain it off.
Yep.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, I mean, if there was a party or something, I'm sure they'd have something back there, but there wasn't like a bar back there. It's just you walk to the bar if you want to drink, you go back and watch the band.
Yep. And that's where I spent most of my time when I'd go to Patty's, just sitting in the back.
Yep.
I mean, I don't drink, so that's obviously deletes a little bit of my clientele base there for him. But still, like, I don't know. I just miss that place, and I miss being able to like go out and meet new people. Because believe it or not, that was like a place where I got to meet most of the musicians, and it was a hotbed for it. What do you think, like, as far as getting into the music scene around here and meeting people? Like, what do you think was like your avenue to go out and kind of like meet some of the people? Was it just like working here and you got to see all the people walking in, or
I haven't actually worked here that long. This is my 4th year here. So it's literally just going out and playing.
Yeah,
it's going out and playing. We met Jeremy Ober when he was Jake actually played in Brutal Republic for a while when they were doing more of the heavy stuff.
Yep.
And when we were doing Hour of Reckoning, we'd book shows together. So that's how we all really got to know Jeremy really well.
Oh, cool.
And, like, we'd do, the Halloween ball, Monsters Ball that Gina used to put on.
Yep,
and,
I remember that.
And they still do it. I think they're doing it again this year.
Yeah, I want to say Mason at 92.1 sent me something about it.
And like anytime when the ballroom was, it's still open, but I mean when it was like open, people would book shows there. Like, we'd have like not lower grade, not as well known regional bands come in and play a show, and we'd get on that ticket and we'd play on the second floor of that place all the time. Yeah. When we were doing the metal band thing. But that's, it's just going out and playing and meeting people, going to their shows. It's just it's basic networking, but doing it a lot. Yeah. That's kind of the deal. And then you strike up conversations with people. Sometimes it's after a few drinks, so you actually
get the courage to do it.
Yeah, and have the ability to talk about nothing for 20 minutes,
That's why I started a podcast, because I don't drink, and I just scurry away with my tail between my legs. Then I have to corner you people and be like, I'm putting a microphone in front of your face.
100%.
I'm asking you questions.
Yep. And you're throwing the gauntlet down. You have to do it.
But
the microphone.
But that's just for everybody else. That like, hey, maybe you don't have the opportunity to go to as many shows. Maybe you don't know what's out there, and I'm just trying to introduce the people. Yep. And just let everybody know that.
Yeah, what you're doing right now is a great way of getting people to meet people.
Yeah, and it's just, I've heard a lot of people say they've listened to a lot of podcasts with people they don't know, and they're like, this sounds like a cool guy, I'd like to meet him or whatever.
Sure.
So,
and more than likely, like you said, we all get along pretty well in town here. It's like, more than likely, if you're an outsider, you will too. It's
exactly.
There's a lot of people I know that aren't musicians that come to shows that I get along with real well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know. I'm a people person when I want to be. Sort of thing.
Well, I feel the same way. I'm not antisocial, but I definitely feel that antisocial twinge a lot.
Absolutely. I like having my time to myself. Yep. Mostly because we're out playing a lot. It's just, you never get that time. But like, I don't have a problem with going out somewhere and just talking to someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's human connection, I guess. Really.
Yeah. Let's get out of here, Fly. Let me ask another thing. Like, how cool is it that when you go to play a show and you show up and you're setting all your stuff up and you look out in the crowd and one of your buddies drove 20, 30, 40 miles just to come watch you play, and he's in another band. And
that's the deal, especially with Riddled and Jay Clyde. Is like, I'll be playing a Jay Clyde show and Nick and Levi will just show up out of nowhere and it's like, this is the greatest night ever. And then, like, same thing if I'm doing a Riddled show, and we've had Corey. Actually, our last one at Timbuk Brew, we were getting set up, and Ron shows up on a party bus from a wedding party.
Oh,
and
dude.
I was like, holy crap, there he is.
That's awesome. That's
so
super cool.
It's always awesome to see those dudes. They're like, Jeremy, if he's not playing, will pop in sometimes. And like, or if he's playing, like first time we played when we did the beer release at River Hops, Lone Tree was playing down at Shiny Top later that night.
Oh, cool.
And they had like a couple hour window where they didn't have to play. We played early out at River Hops, and Jeremy and like most of the band showed up. I was like, this is awesome. Like, it's cool just to see those guys out doing stuff, and then we go reciprocate the same thing.
Yep.
I love it when they come playing Manson, and at Shoreside I'll just drop in. And the best part of it is going to a show is knowing that you don't have to tear down at the end of the night.
Yeah. That is actually like,
especially if it's in your hometown.
Yeah, I went and saw Brutal Republic in Clarion at Timbuk Brew, and that was one of the things where they were like tearing down. It's like, I feel like if I help, I'm going to get in the way too.
Right.
But like at the same rate, it was just kind of like, I'm just going to step back and enjoy this because I don't have to tear nothing down. And
or like, you sneak off to the bathroom and just kind of like wave on your way out.
Yeah. I'm the king of that. The Irish goodbye.
Yep, exactly.
And if we don't want to make any Irish people upset, we'll call it the French exit.
It's It's the bail.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is. Just bail on out of there. Dude, that is like one of the greatest things though. Like, it's like heartwarming and just makes you feel like all around good about what you're doing and what everybody else is doing to have that support group.
It's a little gratifying too, because it's the connections you made kind of being justified.
Yeah.
It's cool.
All right, we've eclipsed an hour.
Sweet.
Is there anything else you want to get into? I think we covered a little bit of both, where we can find both your bands, some of your upcoming shows.
Come say hey to Riemann Music too. We're here all the time. Jake and I work here. My dad works here.
Sweet.
I mean, it's 6 days a week. Just come by and say hi.
I don't think I've ever met your dad.
He's a good guy.
I'll have to come say hi sometime.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, that's all I got to say right now, I guess. We can do it again sometime.
Yeah,
something else.
Yeah, definitely, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining me on the podcast.
No problem, dude.
That's another good episode. A really good episode. I had a great time sitting down with Greg. He dropped a lot of words of wisdom in there as far as stepping outside of your comfort zone and having it help you prepare for other things in the future. I think that's something everybody could probably learn a little bit from in their life and apply it almost any way they want to, and it will come out in their favor. So hats off to Greg, dropping knowledge. He's played a lot of instruments and he does a lot of things musically and has for quite a while in his life. So that's really, really cool. I'm glad I got to sit down and talk with him. And like I said, this is the first time I ever sat down and talked with him with his oddly small, or not so small anymore as the music scene is in northern Iowa. It's kind of crazy that our paths have never really crossed too much until now. But I had a great time sitting down talking with him. So thanks, Greg, for joining me. I also want to say thanks to Couchtown Coffee. Couchtown Coffee, brewed right here in Iowa. I'll tell you what, go to www.couchtowncoffee.com, click on the Our Coffee section, find a coffee you like, enter the code word BASS, and you will save 20% on your order this week. It's only good for this week, so we're talking the 3rd through the 9th. Yeah, it'd be the 3rd through the 9th. That's going to be the only time your coffee order will be good this week if you enter the code word BASS. And I want to say thanks once again to Couchtown Coffee. Appreciate you guys sponsoring the podcast. I also want to say thanks to the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Go to www.fdfineartsassociation.org. I know that's kind of long and wieldy, but there's a link down below. Don't worry about it. Go to the website and check out what they have there. They're up in northern Iowa in the town of Fort Dodge. They're helping out everybody around the area doing anything art related. I really, really appreciate everything they're doing. They're gonna try and help us help each other, I guess would be the best way to say it, because I really appreciate what they're doing and they appreciate what I'm doing, so I just wanted to tip the cap towards them. I will probably start mentioning them a little bit here at the end of the episodes. They do have a calendar. There's like a calendar that has all of the things that's going on around the area that they've aggregated for the northern Iowa area that is art, music, etc. related. So it's pretty neat if you want to go check out their website. It's there. And what they really do is they just support, promote, and connect all the visual, performing, and literary artists around the area. Whether or not they're just arts organizations, businesses, any sort of capacity, they just want to get involved. So check out their website down below. I'm happy to have them as a partner for the podcast here, and check it out. Check out that calendar. You might find something that you didn't know was happening. That would be pretty awesome. So check it out. If Northern Iowa area, I highly recommend that. Highly recommend it. I want to say thanks once again to the guest. The guest this week was Greg Merritt. What a great guy. I had a great time sitting down with him. Go check him out. Check his bands out. There's links down below. Thanks once again to Couchtown Coffee, and thanks to the Fort Dodge Fine Arts Association. Check out all the links down below in the podcast. Really appreciate you guys listening. We'll check you next week. Peace.